Hi, welcome back to Smoking Cheltenham. How you doing? It's been a little while, hasn't it? Yeah, just before Aintree last time I saw you. We're nearly there then, last week of it now. Punchestown, yeah. Um, I'll do a video when I get round to it, like either next week or the week after, and we'll just like have a look back at everything and have a look forward to next season. So we'll have a little chat about like Aintree and Fairy House then. For now, just this video. It's just like a Punchestown preview, if you like. I haven't got all that many bets. I've had a few bets, and it's a 5 day meeting in it. We haven't got like the entries in for Friday and Saturday yet for most of the races there. Yeah, it's a tricky one to preview. This it is because I mean, yeah, 5 days. There's a lot to go through there, and a lot of it I've only skimmed through up to now. So I'll just let you know where I am. I've had a few bets. I'll let you know those. We may put a couple of Cheltenham bets on. I did them a while ago. I told you about them, so I don't know, but yeah, we'll see how we go. So I'll just sort of let you know where I am with stuff. We kick off tomorrow, Tuesday, then. The first sort of bet I've had in a 3:40 2 mile listed handicap hurdle. Right, I've gone for a bit of a wild one in this. Any road, Edward O'Grady's. I've had an each way bet on him. Yeah, we chatted about him a bit, haven't we, this season, Any road. He caught my eye behind. It weren't McClory, it was the run before at Navan, 2.5 mile handicap hurdle behind Music Atari. He came 6 of 19 there. And if you watch that race, he travelled into the race really strongly. Sort of made a big move down the back, and he sort of flattened out close home. I'm not sure he's the most genuine in a finish, like hence the each way. Watching that, you'd think he'd be interested, maybe drop back to 2 mile, and he were against McClory. He ran a fair race there, to be fair. If you back to me each way at a big price, you'll have collected there, chances are. He came 5th of 18, beaten just over 13 lengths there. He's come down a couple of pounds since then in the handicap. Irish Panthers quite prominent in the betting there, around 10 to 1. He's got £8 for finishing 12 length behind him there. There's a horse around 10 to 1, American Money, a Henry's. He's on last season's form. He's got £7 for nearly 4 lengths there. The reason I think is interesting now tomorrow is the application of first time tongue tie and Darragh O'Keefe. That's what kind of caught my eye with him. So the way he runs, you'd say the tongue tie could make a positive difference to him. I think Darragh O'Keefe could make a positive difference to him, and he's 25 to 1. So, a bit of a wild one, bit speculative, but yeah, I had a little bit each way on that. Okay. Right then, the 4:15 2 mile grade 1 champion novice hurdle, Kopek de Boards. He looks the one here. His odds on now. He's a bit short for me to be getting stuck into. Salvatore Monday, he did well at Aintree last time, didn't he? He ran C. But I think until Kopek de Boards, I'm going to believe this horse is a bit of a machine until he sort of shows us otherwise anyway. I did mention I had a bit on him at sort of 9s for the Arkle, to win the Supreme and the Arkle, that double. And I topped up a bit on at 5s as well. I think he'll be going chasing next year, so we'll have what shall we have on him? £4, that's quite big, isn't it? Do we want to go 4 points? I've 3 or 4 points on him anyway at 5s for the Arkle. That's with 365. Sorry, we'll go 4, eh? We'll have 4 points on him at 5s for the Arkle. Okay. Yeah, I think he'll be taking this out as well as Salvador Monday looked last time. The 450 3 mile grade 1, yeah, novice chase. This looks a good race. Ballyburn, Lecky Watson, Stella Story, Slade Steel, Gorgeous Tom in Peripass. I have had a bet in this race. I ain't gone mad, like, it's that sort of race. Ballyburn, I think he's around even money. He could win this, he could. I imagine they're going to be a lot more positive on him. That's the vibe you get, don't you, from Cheltenham last time. They're going to let him go. And he could win this well, he could. We kind of know the ability's there with the horse. He could win this well, but at the same time, do you want to be taking like even money for him? I don't know. I had a little play against him. Lecky Watson, yeah, he could take this out as well. This should suit him well round here. I'd have thought Punchestown, he's got, a bit of pace there about him. He won the Browns last time. I think he's around sort of 2s, 5-2. I won't put anyone off back in any of those two. They're the most likely winners in the race. They are, Stella Stories here and Slade Steel. They haven't got so much to find with Lecky Watson and the much bigger prices. So it's got a fly in here. Get away. It's one of them races, you won't put anyone off whatever they fancy. You can have a little pop on something. The one I backed is in Peripass. Now, yeah, I've had a little bet on in Peripass at 11-2. He were disappointing at Leopardstown, weren't he, behind Ballyburn? He were never really going that day. But he bounced back at Aintree. And if you just look through his form, maybe he don't like Leopardstown. He's ran there 3 times, he's been beat 3 times. If you cross out his Leopardstown form, he's only ever been beat once in his career, and that win the Hatton's Grace first time up last year behind Teapot. And you could say he just got beat for fitness that day as well. So, he might be just one of those horses that don't like Leopardstown. The trip is a bit of an unknown for him. He's going up in trip, but I like horses at Punchestown that are going up in trip. I'd rather be on ones going up than down. If he's going to get 3 mile anywhere, he'll be at Punchestown. And I thought 11-2 were fair enough price. So he's a selectionaire in Peripass. Had a little go on him. 6 o'clock race, 2 mile grade 1 chase. It's a cracking meeting here as well. Plenty of grade 1s, some fierce handicaps, loads of sort of informative bumpers. It's brilliant meeting this. And it looks like maybe a sort of, the betting suggests anyway, it's between Factofile and Marine Nationale. I'm really looking forward to seeing Factofile over 2 mile for me, it's a kind of watching race. You know, he's coming down in trip, which I don't especially like at Punchestown. I think he's the best horse in the race, but if he's the best 2 miler in the race, I don't know, and it's going to be interesting to find out. You know, everything should kind of set up nicely for Marie Nationale. You know, you got to respect him, he is the reigning champion at 2 miler. I don't really want to be getting stuck into factor file at odds on. I don't really want to take him on either, you know, I think he's a bit of a beast, like, you know, so it's just a watching race for me, this, but it'll be a good watch, you know. And just the meeting in general, like, you know, Willie's going to have tons of winners here, he always does, but you can't just kind of blanket bet him anymore. Maybe years ago you could have, you know, and done all right, but he's got that many horses now, he's just getting more and more powerful all the time, so you can't do that. But you know he's going to have some winners this week at decent prices as well. They won't all be his first strings that are going in, he'll probably take an handicap or two out as well, so he'll have some nice price winners, but finding them, you know, it's not so easy anymore. And just he's been in this, he's just taken the championship out again, hasn't he, in England, and he's ran a few there, such as like Lombron, I'd say, Absurd, Captain Cody, they'd have been likely types for this meeting. So certainly Lombron, I think, would have been going in one of these handicaps this week, and then maybe Captain Cody too. So he might have just used the few of his bullets for the handicaps as well. But yeah, so in summary then, first day we've got any road each way. We'll have a little bit on Kopek for the Arkle, and we've got a little bit on Impera Pass. Okay. Wednesday then, right, yeah, we've got the cards for Wednesday as well. The rest of the meetings tricky because we haven't, you know, and there's a lot of like multiple entered horses. But I like the look of Wednesday, a couple of races in particular, the 305. So I'm not going to go through all the races because I haven't got, you know, I won't waste your time, I haven't got a strong view on a lot of them at the moment. The 305, 2 mile 3 EBF auction hurdle series final. Gavin took this out last year, we're back to normal, and he looks to have a cracking chance here again to me with Champagne Jury. He made his debut for him in January, he took out a 2 mile 2.5 bumper at Nace, be 5 lengths on soft to heavy. He made his hurdles debut for him at Leopardstown over 2 mile, he came second there, ran a nice race, just beaten over a length by Honesty Policy. Now JP bought that horse and he went on to winning like Aintree in the grade 1, so that looks good form. He had Coral River just half a length behind him there, who also contests this, after the same sort of weights in this. But he were more experienced, that being Champagne Jury's first run, you'd imagine he could maybe, you know, improve further there. The extra trip here should suit him, you know, judging on that bumper win. I think he'll be hard to beat. He's a strong fancy, I think he's a good bet. There's no prices available yet, but I'll be looking to get on him early, I think. The bumper, we've got a Bambino Fever there, you know, in the grade 1 bumper. She looks to have Cold Cannon to beat. He'll give her a good race though, he'd be well suited by this track. He's got a turn of foot there, hasn't he? So it'll be a good race between the pair, I'd imagine. You know, selection would be Bambino Fever, but it's late on in the season now. I won't be lumping on, you know, but I'd maybe have a little bit on her. I don't know. I think she's around 13-8. It's tight enough, really. But yeah, maybe she's definitely the selection anyway. Right then, the 5:30 3 mile Grade 1 Punchestown Gold Cup. Yeah, only 4 in this, but 4 cracking horses here. We've got Spillane's Tower, Galloping de Champs, Banbridge, and Montestar. Now, Galloping's been beating this a few times now, hasn't he? Bottom line, I like Spillane's Tower. I do. I backed him ante-post. I've been chipping away a little bit at him. Just hope the ground don't come up too quick. But I think they're going to give him the run him here. I think unless it comes up silly fast, and I don't think it will do. They tend to water it pretty well. Yeah, I mean, that John Durkin run against Factophile, at this track, he took out the Grade 1 as a novice here, beating Montestar last year. I think Jimmy Mangan can land another big pot here with this horse. He comes in nice and fresh, loves the track. He's got a lot in his favour. Say Galloping's never been at his best here, but he still sets the bar. He only got beat a length and a quarter by Fast or Slow here last year. That's still like classy form. It's not like he runs terrible here. He's still, he's still a top class horse. So you wouldn't be putting a line through him. But at the same time, I think if you like one, then why not take him on here? Banbridge has his chance here. The ground should be fine for him. He bounced back last year here from a disappointing effort at Cheltenham to win, didn't he? King George winner should be well suited by this. Montestar, you'd say, would be up against it. It looks a cracking race between the other 3, I'd say, and I like Spillane's Tower. Say that John Durkin run, that's cracking form. That with Factophile over 2.5. He likes the 3 like he stayed this. He took it out last year at 3 miles. So he's 50-1 for the Gold Cup. Now I know. These 50-1 shots ante-post are all right, aren't they? But generally, you're not going to land many anyway, or you put it that way. But it's 50-1 at 365. As I mentioned before, I've had a bit of change on him at that, so we'll have a point on him at 50s. I like him here, so if he takes this out, the 50s should be going he should be a bit shorter than that. Right then, that's the only races really I'm going to touch on there. It's not going to be a long video, this, I think maybe half an hour. Thursday, yeah. So we haven't got final decks through here yet. Couple handicappers caught my eye possibly. Mirazor West would be interesting, I think, right-handed, making an handicap debut off 135 if he goes in the 2 mile handicap chase. But I've not gone through the races in depth. You look there and you think, yeah, I like Mirazor West, and then you look and about sort of £10 lower, there's a few horses there that look interesting too, and I haven't looked into them yet. But I think as a horse, 135 Mirazor West, he'd have a race in him going right-handed off that, be his first handicap. And the 3 mile handicap hurdle, Raglan Rhodes entered there. We chatted a bit about him through the season. Ran a cracking race, didn't he, in the Martin Pipe. I'd be interested in him, I think, if he runs in the 3 mile handicap hurdle. The 2 mile mares listed hurdle, this looks to me at the mercy of 6.5 if she comes here. She should be taking this out. I think, don't know how she got beat last time, I don't, but she looked classy in that race. Yeah, I'd fancy her to be winning this, I would. Just give one a mention at a big price. I'd imagine a big price if it runs Nicky Henderson's Charisma. Thought shaped very nicely last time. Early run of the season. If one at a price, Charisma, but I think this should be about 6.5. 2 mile grade 1 Barbistown, Novice Chase. This is at the mercy of Masborough, but so was the Arkle. He's just got to jump round, hasn't he? I fancy he probably will get this done, but he won't be one really for me at odds on, but I wouldn't want to be taking him on at the same time. I just had a little look at this 6 o'clock, the 3 mile grade 1 Stayers. Robco's got a very strong hand here, hasn't they? Teapot, Bob Ollinger, Eden Valley Lake, all big chances. I think the intention is to run all 3. I love Bob. Yeah, it looks a cracking race. Jade de Grugy's entered here and she's been nibbled at in the betting. I think she may come here rather than taking the 2.5 mile mares. And if she does, she's going to be interesting. I could see myself having a small bet on Jade de Grugy. I think she's top price 8s. I think 15 to 2 as short as 6s in some places. Yeah, she's going out in trip, but I like that. Like I say, I like that at Punchestown, like going up in trip rather than down. It's a kind of speed favouring track. Bob Ollinger's going to have a chance though, isn't he? He is. One thing I noticed though with Henry, he's generally in decent form, but the horses I've noticed that went to Cheltenham have all ran like terribly. Maybe I've missed one somewhere there, but I certainly noticed, I think, 3 that ran no race at all. So although he's generally in good form, I'd be a bit wary about Henry's horses that ran at Cheltenham. Just personally, which maybe put me off Bob a little bit. Teapot, took this out last year, probably similar sort of ground. He's the one to beat, but yeah, I've been looking at this Jade de Grugy and I'm a bit tempted with her yet, but I haven't had a bet in the race just yet. Friday we've only got 3 races there with any sort of decks at the minute, just the early entries. The handicap, there's like 80 horses in that, so I didn't really get started in that. 2 mile champion hurdle, I don't think Lossiemouth will line up here. I think she'll be going to the mares, I'm pretty sure. So this looks, we got the reigning champion hurdler Golden Ace, State Man and Constitution Hill. Yeah. I haven't had time to form an opinion here. I haven't. What I would say is I can't see myself taking a short price over Constitution Hill. After 2 falls, that would be tough to do, wouldn't it? At the same time, no, I'd have to be against him. I think I would. State Man may be the one here. Maybe State Man. He did look a lot better in those first time cheap pieces, didn't he, last time? Yeah, I may side with State Man here. I may do, but like I said, I don't want to put you away. I've not fully decided yet. Yeah. I'm interested to see if they let Cargeese take a chance here. She's entered in this and the 2.5 mile mares. I'm not sure where she'd be going. She'd have it to do, I guess, here. Yeah, maybe Stateman. That's like one of the reasons Willie does so well at these meetings is, we've talked about this plenty of times. He's only just starting to get going at Christmas, so his horses, are still in good form at this festival, whereas a lot of them are sort of going over the top by this stage, aren't they? So you've always, if you're between a few horses, at one of these meetings and one of them's Willie's, you kind of have to favour that one, I'd say. Generally, that's not a bad way to go. 2.5 mile Grade 1 novice. Yeah, Final Demand and Yellow Clay. This should be between those two. There's loads of entries here. But that form at Cheltenham in that Turners, I think, is classy form. Even Kisswell came out the other day at Ayr, well beaten, won well. It's going to stand up, I think, this Turner's form. So as such, I think, these two will take a bit of beating here. No reason really why Yellow Clay shouldn't confirm form with Final Demand, particularly around Punchestown. It's not as stiff as Cheltenham. Should suit him better, much better than Final Demand. However, as I've just been saying about Willie, Final Demand should be a fair bit fresher. Like Yellow Clay's been on the go a long time, and we Down Royal he came out around there. It's been he's been at it a long time, so you don't know. It's tricky, and I generally side with Willie, but at the same time, I won't put you off the Yellow Clay. And, there's no prices available yet for that, so we'll see. Technically, Yellow Clay should be favourite, shouldn't he? I suspect maybe he won't, but maybe there'll be kind of joints or something. I think I'd favour Final Demand, but he is just a 3 mile chaser for next year, and he's going to be a good one, he's generally speaking as well. He's probably not a meeting to be lumping on things, like all these post Cheltenham meetings. It's tough. There were an horse the other day ran Henry's, weren't they? The one that came second in the Ryanair looked absolutely thrown in the race conditions, ran no race at all, and you see it all the time, so just a note of caution there anyway, Saturday, then, last day's punting before October, barring maybe a few little Cheltenham plays. 2.5 mile mares Grade 1. This looks at the mercy of Lossiemouth. I think she'll come here. Found the ground quick enough. I were initially a little bit disappointed with at Aintree. So we'll talk about more of this later. But yeah, found the ground quick enough, I think, and so I hope they put plenty of water on for her. She won't want it too fast here. But yeah, this, she should be taking this out really, and be interesting, like I say, to see where Cargeese goes. If she goes here, be interesting to see how well she gets the trip with regards to next season and a possible tilt at the mares, 2 mile 4-year-old Grade 1. Not much to say about that really. Mickey's bringing Alhambra over, I think. Again, could be dependent on the ground, that, you know, if it's getting quick by Saturday. But no strong views in that race. We'll see if this Poddy Ross is as good as he looked like, you know. The 2.5 mile handicap hurdle on the Saturday, it's always a cracking race, this it is, you know. A few that caught my eye a little bit. You see Jimmy just saw he's entered up here, Cold Cup winner, he's £7 higher, but maybe better than a handicapper. He'd be top weight if he goes here. JP's got a few interesting looking runners here, I'd say. Copet de Me, I'd say probably should have won at Aintree, but £7 higher here off 143, but he just looks like a winner in waiting, you know. Willie JP, that could be a winner if he lines up here. Shuffle a Deck, we love this horse, don't we? Yeah. Akimyo and Grand National plans are still on here for this Shuffle a Deck for Ted Walsh. Fantastic looking horse this. He's here off 138 if he lines up. I'd be interested in him. Raglan Road 131 again, he's entered up here. Yeah, if these four all ran, right, if they were all definitely running, as much as I think Raglan Road will pick something up, there'd be a couple maybe just a little too hot for him. I'd fancy Shuffle the Deck and maybe give him £7 here. But Copet to me may give Shuffle the Deck 5 as well. He did look like he's ready to drop in this Copet to me, I'd say. He's not had much racing this season, has he? You'd have to respect Jimmy as well. But if those four all definitely ran and the race was tomorrow, I think I'd be on Copet to me and I'd be having a little bit on Shuffle the Deck too, you know. So, anyway, that's the lot. Just after half an hour now. The nap of the week then. Spillane's Tower, yeah. I like Spillane's Tower, I do. I'm hoping he can win a big one there for James Joseph Mangan. I think he's got a cracking chance here, I do. Next best, we'll go Champagne Jury. You know, I think he's got a great chance in that race for Gavin. One at a wild each way price, will go any road 25s each way in that race tomorrow. The big one of the big handicaps there. So that's your lot then. So go easy this week with it anyway, but enjoy it. It's a fantastic meeting. It is. We'll see some, you know, horses to follow for the seasons ahead in the bumpers and stuff. There's plenty of grade ones there. You know, it's good stuff. It is. And we got the weather now as well, haven't we, which is nice. So anyway, have a great week, enjoy it, all the best, and I'll see you either next week or the week after, and that'll be maybe a 2 flask job. You'll definitely need your flask anyway, and we'll have a good chat there, okay? Alright, all the best then, good luck, I'll see you again soon, bye.